Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Chris Dyer's Creative Friends, the super awesome podcast show where me, your artist friend Chris Dyer, talks to all his amazing creative friends. Today, I'm in my hometown of St. Petersburg, Florida, and I made up with my good old friends, Zach and Emily, also known as Future Joy. They are a power couple duo, musicians who mix a fusion of electronic production and instrumentals of saxophone. And they spend most of the year on their RVs, spreading the good vibes all over the country. So we had a great conversation about that and so much more that you'll really enjoy. But also, I wanted to announce that they did a brand new version of the podcast show. If you watch the show, you notice that from episode 1 to 94, Danny Rebel had this amazing reggae song that he made for me, and they have now covered it and created a brand new spanking version of it that I hope you'll really enjoy. So have a good one. Blessings.
While the world is turning, got to make amends. Walk on the sunny side with a positive lens. Talked about passion with all the beings in this land. Chris Dyer and his creative friends, darling.
Emily, Zach, thank you so much for having me here in your beautiful RV. Is this your home? Is this your traveling palace? Tell me about it.
Well, she is Daisy Lynn Joy, is her name.
Now it's our traveling palace. We did live in it for 2.5 years.
Okay.
And about a year ago, we moved to St. Petersburg and got a place here. And then kind of through the summer, it takes us wherever we need to go. We did do a winter tour this year too, I guess.
Nice. How far will you take it across the country? So does it have a limitation? You'd be like, not across the mountains, or?
Oh no, we've gone everywhere in this. We did
Teton Pass in this, which is
everyone said avoid Teton
steeper.
Pass.
What's that?
It's like a 10% grade, which I didn't know existed. Growing up in Colorado, all I had ever seen was
It's by the Grand
7.
Tetons Park in
Idaho.
Idaho.
Yeah. And it almost felt like it was straight up. I was flooring it, and we climbed very slowly. And
Going
then
25 miles per
I
hour.
was slamming the brakes on the way down, but we made it fine.
Nice.
So after doing that, I feel like we can go anywhere. But
Sick. And you bought this during the pandemic?
Yeah, it was kind of our solution to not being able to work. We both were DJs by trade and didn't have jobs. And we were already thinking about getting an RV for traveling because it's easier than crashing on people's floors or staying in someone's house where their cat just won't leave you alone or something.
Or expensive hotels that
Exactly.
just kill the little budget that artists are making.
Yeah.
So we found
Or in your case, a huge budget.
So we found this RV that has a stage on the back.
Uh-huh.
Well, it was a patio that we converted into a mobile stage. So we could play socially distanced concerts during the pandemic. Then after that, we just took it everywhere.
Cool. This is 2020?
We got on the road in August 2020, and then we got off the road in February 23. Right?
Yeah.
And
How was that process?
After about 2 years, I mean, we kind of started with a few shows, and we would go somewhere if we had a gig. Like we had a gig in San Diego, and then we just kind of stayed in the area and did some other festivals and pop-ups and things like that. And shows would always just kind of lead to other shows through word of mouth and that sort of thing. And so we were also just saying yes to anything. So it was like we went to Indianapolis to play the festival, and then we went to San Diego. And it was just like, it wasn't like we were routing a tour. It was just kind of like anything that is available we'll take. So we just hit the road, and I think we did something like 60,000 miles in the first year.
Wow.
And
it's been over 100.
Yeah, in the full time, I think we've done 120,000 miles in this. And this is Gus. We got him on the road.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, when it was about a month into being on the road, we said we want to wait till we've been on the road for a year to get an RV dog and make sure that we know what we're doing. And about a month in, we had a few days off, and we found him in Alexandria, Virginia, and went and picked him up. And
did he already come blind, or is that a new?
That's pretty new. When we adopted him, he was old. So they said he was 9, which would make him 12-ish, 12 and a half. But we think he might be closer to 14.
Wow.
So he's
be a gremlin. Be a gremlin. Be a gremlin. Yeah. He used to love traveling, but he's been declining this past year. And he did the 100,000 miles with us, but now he gets anxious in the car. As soon as we're in the car, he's whining and crying, trying to get out.
So he doesn't travel with us anymore.
He will not be with us this summer.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear.
It's okay.
That's ironic that he went blind instead of deaf. Imagine he went deaf from all the loud music.
Well,
and you're like, oh, what do we do to him?
What do we do?
Actually, when we adopted him, they told us he was deaf. And so we're like, great, we play music, and we did a lot of concerts off the RV. Like, that'll be good to have a deaf dog. And we got home, and he started listening to us.
We realized he had selective listening.
He's just like...
He's into it.
And he would fall asleep. Like, he would just sit on the couch and fall asleep while we were playing a show right here. So we're like, he liked our music, I think.
Nice.
You know?
So you guys were nomadic for 2 years. But you're originally from Denver, I think? Or
I'm from Denver, and that's where we met. Yeah, she's from outside Chicago.
Okay, nice, sweet. And how did you end up in St. Petersburg, Florida?
Well, when it was, I think it was like January, February of 2021, we were staying in Tennessee, playing a lot of shows in Knoxville, and it started getting cold. And we didn't really know it was going to be our first winter in this, and we didn't really know what the capabilities were. And we had been told, once it freezes, you got to get out. So we saw
winterize, and we didn't really want to winterize.
Winterize is you just get the water out of it, but we were living in it full time, so we kind of needed to use the bathroom and do the dishes. So we saw that a freeze was coming, and we started just driving south. And we
actually drove past Sewanee, the Spirit of Sewanee Music Park in Live Oak, which is just off the 10. We were just going to head to Jacksonville because we knew some people. But we saw the sign for Spirit of Sewanee Music Park, and we're like, isn't that what they do Halloween? Maybe we should just go check it out. So we went and drive in, and it's this beautiful park, 800 acres, giant live oaks everywhere with the Spanish moss flying. And Zach got us a week. I'm like, what are we going to do here for a week? And it just happened to be
the best week yet.
It was the first festival back since after COVID. And
is it Halloween?
No,
it was a smaller festival. It was like a Mardi Gras festival, I think February of 2021.
Okay.
And it was their first festival back, so they were still kind of doing it was outside of the park, and they had these pods where, you had to be with your group, basically.
Like
so it wasn't like there was a full crowd yet.
Yeah.
But so I asked them if we could make music, and they said, yeah, if you just as long as you're done by 11 p.m., you can play in the park and whatever. And
so they gave us a good spot on River Road, and we set up, and we started playing, and we ended up meeting a bunch of promoters in Florida, because kind of the whole Florida community comes out to the first festival back at Sewanee. Sewanee is the big gathering for Florida's music community. And people skipped the festival to stay at our Renegade party. We're okay, maybe we have something here. And we got booked right away for a show in Jacksonville. We got booked for another festival, and made a lot of our really close friends that weekend. And we renegaded at Sewanee
5 or 6 times.
Yeah, maybe
5
six
or 6
times
festivals
that year. And just through parties in the campground, started to get our name known, that the park ended up hiring us for the real festival.
Nice.
So
we kind
through
of
the
wiggled
winter,
our way in there.
it was like kind of the winter, we were just escaping the cold, and then we found the whole state of Florida was very welcoming to our music, and
nice.
And we just kept bouncing around, and the festivals were happening all through the season, and we just started feeling a lot of support.
Cool. Yeah, well, you got a good vibe in your music, and to me, Florida is a good vibe too. Maybe a lot of people got weird perspective about what's the deal with Florida, but to me, at least, St. Pete, Florida, this area, or whenever I've really been to Florida, it's always been kind of like, yeah, we're all just chilling in the sun, drinking a beer, enjoying the nature around, partying. Like, the priorities are less let's go and crush and conquer the world. And they're more like, hey, let's enjoy the beautiful day.
Totally.
Why St. Pete?
We had played a lot of shows here. The Movement Sanctuary, if you had, it's since closed, but we had played a bunch there.
I've heard of it, and they got a lot of murals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a cool artist space. And when we first went there, we actually pulled this into, it was like an aerial gym. So we pulled this into the gym and backed in and dropped our stage and did a show in there. And they just kept inviting us back. So we had met a lot of the community and had a lot of friends here. So when we were ready to get out of the RV and get a place, it was kind of between here and Jacksonville, just by how many people we knew, like where, you know, where our friends were based. And I think partially the weather, partially the artist community.
Well, and we had a show here for New Year's. So we were staying at Sewanee at the time. We had a month that we stayed at Sewanee. We're like, we know we want to move to Florida. We're kind of sick of traveling every single week.
Yeah.
Let's put some roots down and like rest a little bit instead of travel. And we had a gig here on New Year's. So we said, let's go to St. Pete and just stay in an Airbnb for a couple weeks and try and find something. And that Airbnb is 2 houses down from here.
Oh, cool.
So we ended up making friends with the mailman, who then told our current landlord that we were looking for something. The landlord comes and knocks on the door at the Airbnb and said, are you guys looking for a place? My tenants just moved out. So we came and viewed this place.
It's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
It's like very, like the water's like not too far from here, right?
Coquina Key, the friendly island.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they call it.
Oh, that's great. So it's super beach vibes.
Yeah.
Nice. The trees are different too. I seen like those like Buddha, rooty kind of trees, right?
Yeah.
The banyan, yeah.
Yes.
Which apparently is an invasive species.
Oh. Well, God bless them.
Yeah.
They look beautiful.
They're very pretty.
They're probably murdering the coconut tree under it, but hey, that's life, you know?
C'est la vie.
And do you like it here in St. Pete? I only got a year here, so I'm asking you all these questions as somebody who's also very fresh in this place.
I think we moved here at the same time. It's been a year for us too. I love it.
Yeah, we love it. I feel like it's funny because we moved in February and then we hit the road all summer again. So it kind of felt like when we got back in October, it was like we removed, you know, but that was kind of when I really felt like, all right, we moved in. And yeah, I mean, we absolutely love it. The community has really welcomed us, and we've got a lot of good friends and other artists.
Very tight knit. They're really supportive.
Very
of
supportive.
Each other here.
People are so nice here.
Yeah.
But not like in a way where like I'll be nice to see what I can get out of you.
Yes.
It's more just like we're just nice. We're like there's nothing, no objective here, because it's not like a big scene like LA or New York or even Colorado, where like we're all trying to like rise to the top and competing and all that stuff. It's just kind of like we're doing our thing, and I think the success of each other all benefits us.
Totally.
You know, in a symbiotic relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very supportive and very genuine, and people are just they dig our music, which is awesome. We played a few shows at the Blueberry Patch here, which hundreds of people showed up. I think 930 came to our party in December, and that kind of really solidified we made the right decision on where to move.
That's the biggest, I think one of the biggest, other than the Polish Ambassador, which you also opened for, that's one of the biggest things, or Reggae Rise Up, which is like a bigger kind of festival. But other than that, things are always very small here.
Totally.
And the Blueberry Patch is this little hippie community commune that you're like, oh, like I wonder if something cool happened there. And then that night's like, wow, it's like a happening party, but super rootsy, huh?
Yeah. And it's been going on since
the 70s. They opened in 77.
Okay.
And since then, they've always had shows on the same nights.
Yeah.
So
before social media, you had to know what nights they were having parties. So I think it's the 1st, the 7th, the 13th, and the 22nd.
And so every 22nd, they have a band. And so before there didn't need to be promotion. It was just it's the 22nd, they're having a band. So we did a show.
Even though it's a Wednesday?
Yeah, like back in February we did the 22nd, and it was a Wednesday. And that was, I think 600 people came, and like we were like, all right, well, it was kind of the first time we had just moved here, and we're like, well, we probably made the right decision. It seems like they're into it. And then when we did December, we chose that one because it was a Friday. So it was the 22nd, fell on a Friday then.
And it was like Christmas edition. Everyone was dressed like elves.
We did the disco elf holiday party.
Oh, it's so fun. I thought it was so cute. It seemed like a mini festival in one night.
It really does. And that one, we just played 3 hours straight, and
that was a long haul.
Yeah,
for sure. I want to paint there still, but because they're so hippie, it's like hard to communicate with them and be like, give me that chunk of wall, I'll come and paint it. Like,
we'll get you in touch with Douglas.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not like, I hit them up on Instagram and I didn't really have
the social media is run by different people, I think, than do their booking. They have a board, like a board of directors, but it's
all volunteer.
We can link you with Douglas for sure.
It's a nonprofit. No one there makes money except for the band and the sound person. Right. And so it all just goes back into the community. Gus is trying to get out.
Through. It feels like very Burning Man-esque there, because it's very like, let's just throw this together and make our own world. Talking of that, like, you guys were just at the Love Burn, right?
Yeah.
So tell me what the Love Burn is.
Love Burn is the regional Burning Man party for Florida. About 8,000 people attend. It's held in Miami at Virginia Key Beach. And it's just a beautiful event. If people don't know what a burn is, it's they don't want to be called a music festival, because it's not. It's more of an art experiment, and everyone that goes participates. So everyone is an artist, everyone is a participant. They have the Burning Man principles that they follow, like leave no trace, radical self-reliance, radical expression.
Radical inclusion.
No money.
Yeah, it's a gifting culture. So they say, you give to give. So some camps bring sound, like our camp had a stage and provided music every night. They also had a bar. Some are kitchens. Some are just art.
Some are clothing stores. Some are
clothing stores, but that you gift the clothing.
Yeah.
Like people would gift you some clothing back.
Yeah, there was.
Well,
that's the whole thing.
It's not a barter, so it's not an exchange. You just give to give, not to receive something back. So even if someone gives you a gift, you're like, wait, I have something for you. They'll say, no, I just want to give you that.
Yeah.
Just accept it and.
Wow, that's such a good vibe.
It's a really cool way to. It's kind of a social experiment. I mean, Burning Man has been going on since I think the 80s. But we like the principle of the burn, and it just is a really awesome community to play for. Everyone's really open and receptive, and just there to dance and enjoy themselves and get lost in the moment.
It sounds like a urban rainbow gathering, if you guys know what it is.
It's similar.
I think the Rainbow even has kind of the same principles that they would, like they try and leave no trace and that sort of thing.
Which came from the whole Woodstock and hippie movement of communes and stuff. Yeah.
And then we ended up playing 8 sets in 4 days. So each camp has its own. Each camp is its own little community and has a stage. There is no main stage. There is no lineup. There's no schedule. Each camp does their own thing. So we coordinated with the camps to decide where we're going to play at what time. Yeah. And I think we played at 5 different camps. The camp that hosted us, we played at 3 times, and we kind of debuted our new project, Future Joy, which is a meditation and sound
Navajo
healing.
Flute.
Kind of the opposite of our DJ set. It's like you sit down, you can lay down if you want. There's singing bowls, we have chimes, we had a couple different people playing flutes, different synth pads, and very just like meditative vibes instead of party vibes. So it was cool to do that the last night.
Nice. So what, not that everything of human does, you have to gain something, which seems like the way we operate in this world. And I guess perhaps a place like Burning Man or the regional burns, which I always hear the Love Burns, one of the nicest one in the States, especially since it's at the beach.
On the beach,
with Miami vibes.
Yeah.
But what's the objective or what's there to gain for people who are trying to make a living from music to go to a place and play a whole bunch for free?
Well, they have grants. So the first year we applied for a grant to bring this, and we called it an interactive art V. So Future Joy's Art V was a camp, and people would come in and they helped us paint the ceiling.
Oh, cool.
So like we had people painting stars, and we made it that, and then we were playing, and Emily was passing out sandwiches, and we kind of made it a whole thing. But so they fund the art basically. So there are grants. It's not necessarily the same rate we would get for a show, but it at least covers expenses. And then this year we were involved on another camp's art grant, so they just helped us out a little bit with expenses.
Okay.
But I think the big thing to gain for us has just been the fan base. You know, people that see us at Loveburn come and see us elsewhere, and they're from all over the place, and they tell their friends. And we recorded one of the sets and posted that on SoundCloud, and that's getting shared very, very wide. So far, it's like it's almost become our top song on SoundCloud. We don't really promote that as much, but just because we put a whole set on there, it's like, and everyone that was there was like, now I get to relive it. So there is kind of that community latching onto us, and then we, you know, hopefully see them at further, you know,
Plus other
events.
connections. We've almost always gotten a gig from Loveburn that we've met someone, or a camp we played at will get us a gig in the future, or somewhere in the country where we haven't played yet. Plus, we love it.
Yeah.
And sometimes the gigs are for money, and sometimes the gigs are just for pure passion. And it just like, I just get so full from it. It's just such a unique environment and community and energy to play for that, to me, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
And our cup is full.
Yeah, nice. I imagine, like, as a musician, when you have like something quality to offer, and you can try like Instagram and social media, but like that's limiting. It's almost like you're going out there like fishing for new fans to get into your vibe. So you're almost like putting the hook in people with these shows, and then like, you know, you creating your own little tribe of future Joy people.
We call them Joy Heads.
Joy Heads.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
a Joy Head.
Oh yeah, thank you. I am very joyful, and I love what you guys do. So tell me about Future Joy. When did it start? You know, it's obviously you guys are a couple, and you do this thing together. Were you doing separate things and united into one?
Yes.
Yeah, so it actually started. I started the project in 2018, and
before we knew each other.
Yeah, before we had met, and I had a drummer at the time and did a few tours. Had some feature vocalists on tracks and at some shows. And then 2019, Emily and I met and quickly started making music and dating, basically. And we did like kind of a trial run. The drummer had quit after a tour, and so I did some shows just solo. And then we tried it out with kind of, I became just solo Future Joy, and Emily was like a featured vocalist. And we did a tour of that in the end of 2019, just to kind of try it out and see, like, you know, do you really want to join the group? Do we make this a duo? And after that was successful, she joined the group officially the end of 2019. We did a show at Cervantes in Denver, December 2019. And that was like, all right, you know, Emily's officially joined. And that was, to me, kind of when I feel like the group really started. And it was cool because I had previous music with other vocalists. She could just learn their parts, and we had music we could start performing right away. And we started writing together and starting to bring in our collaborations. And then like January, we did another tour, January 2020. February, we played a yoga rave in Belize. And
yoga rave, I like that combination.
Yeah, that was our first international show.
Which part of Belize?
San Ignacio.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, at just this ashram in the jungle. It was like pretty wild.
Cool.
And then we came back, and shortly thereafter, Denver shut down. It was like March of 2020. And we really started doing the live stream thing. Concerts just kind of went onto the internet. And so that really helped us progress too, because every show was recorded. So you could go back and watch, like it was game tape. Like, oh, like this was really working.
You can play also like 10 concerts in one, because you can play it at different points.
Yeah. And that really did not make our neighbor happy. We were living in a condo at the time. She's like pounding on the wall, like, stop playing music.
No, she was nice. She just said not after 10 p.m., which I think is very reasonable.
We only did one really late one.
What neighborhood of Denver were you guys in?
We were kind of like south, Aurora basically at that time.
Cool. How did Emily change Future Joy or improve it?
The big thing was her coming from a DJ background. I mean, I always wanted a vocalist because I just think the electronic music with saxophone and female vocals is just phenomenal. But then having her with the DJ background as well, it provided the opportunity for me to stay on the saxophone. Like, I was having to stop playing and make transitions. Yeah. And once she started taking over more of the DJing, transitions could happen and I was still playing sax. And then the new song would come in and I could switch the line. And so that became much more fluid.
Yeah, you can focus on your instrument.
Yeah, and then vice versa. When she's singing and on piano, I can do the transition. And so it just opened a lot more options rather than me just being like, okay, it's my time to transition. I have to put the horn down and do my thing. It just made a lot more opportunities for interesting moves through the set.
I think the music also changed a little bit.
Yeah, it was very
more
dubstep-y.
dubstep focused before I joined, and I'm a house head, and I think it might have something to do with the female aspect too. We just like really balance each other well. So like, you go a little bit harder, I guess I go a little bit softer, but I don't even know how to describe it with words.
It was being from Denver, a lot of my friends and producers were making heavier like dubstep stuff. And then I think that was part of it too. Kind of once we got on the road, it was like, you're not going to just play a pop-up in some random place with this heavy dubstep. Like, and that kind of started to transform our music too. Like, that it just got a little more...
Grab my beer.
Yeah.
You can do it. You've got some.
Yeah.
Yay.
Did it. Paulina's like, sorry.
Cheers.
But yeah, I mean, I think just being on the road, it was kind of like we started going more funky, more housey, and less of the dubstep feel, because that just wasn't, some places it just felt like too much.
But I think that's cool about the Future Joy sound is that we are genre fluid. Like, our sound is our voices and the sax over anything. So we can play funk, we can play house, we have a couple hip hop tracks. We still play the dubstep every now and then, but it's just being able to be well-rounded and play everything. Drum and bass.
I think that's more fun,
future bass,
like funk. I don't want the same beat over and over again throughout the whole set. Like, I guess
agree.
We're all ADD, ADHD at this point.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like I lose interest. Like, there's such a thing as a trance where you fall into a beat for so long. But like, at the same time, it's like, hey, like, I listen to an album, I want like 10 different flavors.
Yeah. And
be entertained. And as a painter, as I want to do different paintings that got different vibrations and styles and mediums. If not, kind of becomes boring.
Yeah.
So when you say you were a DJ, you're a DJ playing other people's music. Are you your producer of your own beats? What was your DJ name? How was your fusion to sax project? Is it like now your project too? Is there like an ego surrender when you join somebody else's and you become one, or is it two separate entities?
So I'm DJ M, very creative. I was DJing in bars and clubs, and weddings was my main like bread and butter. But I hadn't started making my own music yet, so I was DJing other people's music, which can get not old, but it gets a little stale. Like, I've seen DJs burn out, especially wedding DJs and corporate events, just playing the same stuff because you're trying to play to a crowd. You have to play what they want to hear and take requests and play top 40.
You probably got to follow trends too, and you might not particularly like what's trendy.
I had to swallow my ego a bit when I became a DJ because I had such like a snobby taste in music, but I realized most people don't. Most people don't like good music. And so I guess I was trying to bridge the gap of pop music, of like, what is good music that will still make the masses dance, but that I can like feel good in my soul about playing. Even though there's some soul sucking moments, you just got to suck it up and realize that you're still making people happy. It's such a beautiful job to be able to create a vibe and make people dance. But I hadn't made my own music until we started connecting and working together. And once we started, like I kind of, Zach said it earlier, he didn't think that Future Joy really started until I joined and we got together and started creating our own sound.
And it became a symbiosis, you know, it wasn't like it was my project and she was a part of it. Like we really joined and became, you know, 50-50 equal share. And I think, you know, kind of what she said too, I think we balance each other out really well. We come from DJing in clubs, so I think we have a good idea of good dance music and weddings. I DJed at a strip club. Like we're very well rounded in the kind of DJing we've done too. Like so when we approach a Future Joy set, it's very well rounded, and the music that we've covered or write is pulling from so many different genres that I think it
generations
resonates.
too. We play a lot of old music and classics and covers of older style songs, and I think that's why we get a wide audience, because we reach that far out. Like we'll have a lot of people say to us, I really don't like DJs, but I love what you're doing. Or I can never get into EDM, but I really like whatever this is. Kind of because we have the crossover live act too, like where DJs think we're a band and bands think we're a DJ. So we kind of have like two audiences that we can pull from. We can fit in the jam scene world. We can fit in the bass world, in the house world. We kind of just like cross it all, which is awesome.
And I mean, we've covered like Joy to the World, like Three Dog Night, we've covered Post Malone, Circles, we've covered System of a Down, Aerials, you know, and just like kind of all over the place.
You've done songs from the musical Hair.
Yeah.
Which I love. I just introduced Paulina into Hair. It's like, you gotta see this movie, even though it's more of a play, but like, you know, like the 80s movies are good. The music is like, do you know the soundtrack of Hair?
Yeah.
Fairly good. It's great. It's like hippie culture from '67. Like they were naked on stage. Like it was like really special. But so would you say your music, if you had to classify your music, which like classifications and boxes suck, but you gotta inform people what you're doing, would you say that not only you guys are an electronic duo, but you're mashup?
Future funk.
Future funk is kind of a genre we've created. Like I'll say just like funky live electronic with vocals and sax. I feel like that kind of gets thrown in.
Just live dance music.
Okay, cool. Just general.
Yeah. But I think our bio says like funk, pop, house, bass, drum and bass, pop. We pull from it all.
I guess like I think of mashup because you are bringing known songs, but you're taking it out of its usual beat or instrumental thing. Like say if you play Let the Sunshine Come In, but you're doing it with some kind of like disco beat with saxophones, like, okay, they just mashed up that song.
No, I like that.
And fused it. And I personally love, you know, mashup. Like, what was that guy, like Girl Talk?
Girl Talk. That was the first DJ I ever saw in concerts, like full circle. We loved him.
Super good. Do you ever see the documentary, Rep, The Art of Rep? I got the DVD. I should lend to you. It's a whole documentary, not about Girl Talk, but he's the main person because they talk about copyrights.
Yes.
And like back in the day, hip hop could really borrow, you know, for their beats, and then at one point the musician's like, yo, like you're grabbing my song and you're making it your song. And Girl Talk was like the king of that shit, you know. He's grabbing two big songs and making one song, which I fucking love.
I think that on one of his albums there was like he sampled 300 songs in like a 12-track album. It's just like
but
brilliant.
That's like a super HD. Like I can't even fucking say the word. Sorry. Short attention span, people. Well, that's
You're so ADHD you can't say ADHD.
Exactly. I'm from the 80s and HD. What's up, Alina? Okay, it's all right. Like, does it make a sound? That's okay.
Sometimes I have to hit it a bunch of times. You'll fix it in post.
Yeah. No, I'm used to that. Like in the old school versions, you just figured out how to put a battery into it.
So did you used to do this by yourself before y'all were together?
For a chunk. At the beginning, when I did it in Montreal, I had a girlfriend that helped me for 17 first episodes. Then I started like having to do it by myself. So I had to like set up all of the things and just let it run and hope for the best. Hope that the angles are actually hitting the right thing. Hope that the volume's not getting out of control, etc. And there was lots of mistakes. Every episode had one or two mistakes, but all episodes happened in the end. And then when Paulina came around, she started assisting me again. Started getting assistance again, and then she was so on point with filming it that when the editor would edit it, she'd be like, "Fuck, I could do a better job if I knew how to edit." But I don't know how to edit, but like he should have put this shot here and I took this specific shot to put there and I was like,
you've got the vision.
Yeah.
Do you edit now? You guys do
post.
Nice.
Yeah. But she learned how to edit.
Oh
yeah.
Oh, you do the editing.
Yeah.
No, but you currently.
What do you use?
Final Cut.
Nice.
Yeah.
I bought her the software, she learned it, she cried.
I did.
She
It was challenging at first.
Yeah. No, I was telling Chris earlier, I went to school for video production and we learned on Avid, which is similar to Final Cut, but it is so like tedious and there's so much
not
to
my natural brain.
Right. Same. But yay!
You did it.
Yes.
Yay.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so now she's crushing it. The episodes are like impeccable. She bought new equipment because she's like, this is not good enough. Because I had camcorders before. And she's like, no, this is looking kind of ghetto. Like she bought new mics. She just investigated. Like, dude, I'll pay for whatever it is. I just don't have time to investigate.
Yeah, you're crushing it, girl.
Like, so this is her show.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
are.
the host of it. But, yeah. It's a collaboration.
It's teamwork.
It's our future joy.
Yeah.
Even though it's Chris Dyer's blah, blah, blah. We take a brief pause from our beautiful conversation to remind you of the sponsor of the magnificent podcast, Magic Mind. Magic Mind is a delicious and super healthy drink with so many very healthy ingredients that I could name to you, but you just trust me. It's super healthy. You drink it, it gives you energy, it makes you clear, it gives you focus, it takes away your stress. I love them. It's the reason why I'm so incredibly intelligent. So use the code ChrisDyer20 for 20% off. Enjoy! Ah! So tell me about the name Future Joy. Obviously you came up with it, and is it like some resistance to being here now? And also, and sorry I'm making so many questions at once, but I just want to let you roll for a minute, is what's the importance of joy and positivity in our world?
So funny enough, the name was a song name before, and the group was originally called Like a Kenny G6.
Okay.
You know, Like a G6 meets Kenny G, and I had released some music under that name, and it was kind of blowing up in Indonesia. I think because of the language barrier, if you searched for Kenny G,
they love Kenny G over there.
They love Kenny G, and Like a Kenny G6 would show up. So my music lawyer said, you need to change the name immediately or you're going to get sued by Kenny G.
Oh, weird.
So I had a song called Future Joy, and that just went to the top of the list. I really liked it, and I don't know. It's funny because it's like where that song name came from. I don't really know. It's more like naming a song is kind of you don't think about it as much.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it was the rebrand of the project, that name really stuck out. And I think we kind of say it's like it's not Future Joy like really far down the road. It's as soon as you say the name, you're feeling the joy. Future Joy.
It's like a present, but
it's
the
right.
future is now.
I guess the future joy is in the moment right in front of the present. But
we actually have had fans and friends tell us that the concept of future joy has helped them get through hard times. because there is this knowledge of the joy that they're gonna have in the future once they get through this tough time that they're going through. Yeah. And the importance of joy in our culture today, I think, is so important, especially in the words that we say. And we have all these funny ways of saying, like, you're killing it, or I can't wait to do this, or don't do that, or you're murdering it. And you know, our words have meaning, and so we try and talk and think about what we're saying and put a positive spin on it, kind of like Chris Dyer's Positive Creations. It's all about perspective and the way you see the world.
And attracts a certain energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can choose what you want to be about.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like, not to bring this weird example up, but the new water, Liquid Death.
Yeah, I thought about that. Yeah,
I don't want to drink it.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Because it's like the Emoto experiment says that whatever you write on the water, it affects the molecules of the water.
Absolutely.
You're drinking death. It's some kind of like.
And it's like murder your quench.
Murder your thirst.
Murder your thirst.
You're just trying to be all cool. So and being bad is cool.
Yeah. So I mean. And so I think that's like, you know,
we're doing the opposite.
The name is the perfect manifestation of just we're always planning future joy, and it is kind of a funny thing. People are like, well, what about right now? And we're like, well, it's not the far away future.
We do say the future is now, and that usually gets them. Yeah, the future is now. All we have is now, technically, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's not like running away from the ever existing now, but it's like, you know. It's like music is very much, it happens in the moment. Totally. Art is almost a record of the past. Yeah. Like I do a painting, you never really see, like unless you see the final stroke and then the painting's finished, you never really see the final thing till it's that final stroke. And then by then it's done, and then it becomes a relic of the past.
Totally.
Like it really only exists in nowness. I guess everything exists in nowness, but as a painting, just before finishing and that final stroke would be like, boom, and now finished. Everything before that, it's like, well, the painting's unfinished, so it's not really the painting. But with music, it's always finished in the moment, stepping into the future, like the Steve Miller song, you know?
Yeah.
And keeps on slipping. So it's a really interesting, like you always got to present your finished product in the now. There's no work in progress. Like you'll never show a musical sketch on the way to your final thing.
Except for now that everything has to be documented and content, and we have to film ourselves making the music and film it's just like this world we live in. It's like content that you've got to record. And I mean, I guess our music does live like on records, but I think that we have a unique energy at the live show. And like, I know that not everyone can see us live, and we're working on making our studio albums live up to what you experience at a show. And we had been working more on shows when we were on the road. It was just constant show. So we didn't sit back and work on the albums as much. But now it's like there's so many aspects of being a musician that you don't really think about. You also have to have a clothing store. You have to be a content creator. You have to do all the business stuff, which you've been doing, like the BMI and the copyright and the business law, and deciding when you work on a collaboration who gets what and how much percentage goes into each thing, and signing things. And there's just, Zach's really good about this part of the business, where sometimes I'm like, I just want to be an artist.
That's great. Well, that's awesome that you guys put positivity in the world. I guess that's why we resonate, you know?
Yeah.
And the way we met was like, well, you did a photo shoot for Positive Creations in Denver.
Before we knew each other.
Before I met you. Yeah. And then you opened for the Polish ambassador here in St. Pete, but I couldn't see you on stage. And then we're actually dancing together in the crowd once Polish is playing. And I don't know how we started talking, and then you were like, oh yeah, I was just on stage. It's like, oh, you're the couple with the saxophone. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's so cool. And then after that, we've met like all over the place and become friends. So it seems like you express a name that resonates with you, and then other resonant beings are like attracted and resonant. And yeah, I guess like yes, we do live in a world where showing the stage of creation is important, but people know that you're practicing for a song and that's not the final version. As
Correct.
when I'm doing a painting and it's half done, it's like, well, that's not the final painting. Don't judge it yet. Don't be like, oh, that's a crappy painting. It's like, well, it's not done yet. That's not the final thing.
Yeah.
Like, I got a DVD the other day of Nirvana Unplugged. I was at Cosm, and they have a library in the guest room, and they had Nirvana Unplugged. And I've been looking for that DVD, so I was asking around, like, hey, like, can I buy it off? Yeah, I know it's like a communal thing. And the guy who gave it to Cosm he's like, oh, I gifted it to them, but like, you can have it. So I took it home, and I saw the concert, and then they had the rehearsal. I was like, wow, I've never seen the rehearsal. And the rehearsal sucked so hard. And I was like, God bless that they didn't play like that and the actual concert, because MTV Nirvana Unplugged would have been terrible.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
how interesting that they decided to put that out anyways, you know?
Mhm.
Like, I wonder what they were thinking, like, let's show everyone the process, or...
It was the bonus features,
Yeah.
and it's the DVD. Not everybody gets to see it. And once again, you know it's not the official concert.
Right.
There's no people around, and they're all they're not like, they're always cool, but like they're not playing so cool. Like, yeah,
They're not
the Nirvana.
performing.
They're like, man, it's coming up in an hour. I'm nervous. It's like, dude, I don't know if I can play that song. Like, they're all like being like real, and like, how are we gonna do this song? Should I do it alone? Like, it's really nice to catch the banter between it. In general, Nirvana Unplugged is nice because of the banter around them, and you can see them more than a concert where it's so loud that you can't really feel the personalities. I like that. And anyways, going back to you guys, sorry, I took it on a
No,
different
we
note.
like
fine.
that. And
Yeah.
you're wearing your Nirvana shirt.
Oh yeah, it's true. I love Nirvana. I grew up in the 90s, you know?
Yes.
Born 79, so like 90s is my teenager years, and he died in 94 when I was 14, so that was like a huge deal for me. I was like, they were like my #1 band, and I had Kurt Cobain posters all over my room, and for him to kill himself was like shocking.
Totally.
And in Peru, the article was like this big. It was like, oh yeah, the singer of Nirvana
American.
killed himself, and it's like, but that's the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
Front page news.
Yeah. Back to the joy of your project. You guys are very humorous. It seems like joking and fun is part of your equation. You got a song called "What the Fuck." You do the mambo line to the Olympic song, as we did in Sacred Sessions.
Yeah.
Then you just came out with the song "I'm a Bee." Who is the biggest clown of you two, and what's the importance of comedy? And do you feel comedy like makes it that your project becomes more of a joke, or you're like, no, comedy actually makes my project better? Because me as an artist, I'm very much of a joke, and I was like, oh, if I joke too much, people won't respect me like Alex Gray, who's a little bit more serious. But I'm like, but you're a joker, and life's a joke, so just be yourself. Anyways,
No,
how do you reflect to this?
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally
I
feel
think that we don't want to be taken as like a joke band, but it is a very lighthearted thing. And it's like it's not, I mean, we do have some songs that are more on the jokey side. Iguanas y Chanclas. This is our theme mascot for
Eddie.
that. That one is just a straight up joke. But you know, even I'm a Bee is like, it's kind of funny, but it's like the song itself is pretty heavy hitting. And so it's, yeah, I think that it's like, we just want to be lighthearted. I mean, we've been having a lot of fun singing the Chili's theme song at shows. Like, I think that's hilarious. And then I always like to make the joke that we don't even eat meat, but I just like that theme song, you know? And so I think that, yeah, just being lighthearted, I think we see there's so many artists like I definitely don't want to be an artist that doesn't smile in photos, you know? And there are some artists like, I wear black, and when the camera's out, I make my serious
Which
face.
is totally fine.
That's cool if that's
You're a
someone.
heavy metal band.
Yeah, if that's
Or
your art.
techno.
But I mean, I even played sax in a metal band, and we were still jokey in that group, you know. And so I've just always kind of been like that. This is who I am, and I'm not taking it too serious. I want the music to be good, and you know, we want to play well, and be taken seriously in a sense, you know, as a project. But that comedy
still wanna
is
have fun.
Yeah, we want to have fun, and comedy is a part of it.
I think on stage, Zach definitely is more comfortable like making jokes and is more of like a comic and doing the funny stuff. But we're both silly, and I think that's probably why we found each other. Is just we have fun with life, and I think that we live in this world where everyone's so serious all the time. And you know, feels like they can't have fun as an adult. Like
so you'd say Zach is the bigger joker?
Just on the microphone.
On stage, I think on the mic, I'm cracking more of the jokes.
He has more like material as jokes, but I think
you're so imposing. Like you're like big, tall, strong, biking.
Tattoos.
It's almost like you would not expect all this like, you know, humor, while you're more like a lighter fairy kind of creature. So it's less stereotypical in a way, and you're bursting bubbles or boxes of stereotypes that we impose on each other.
And we've heard this as feedback from people in the audience, that I look around and I just see that everyone's smiling. Everyone's having a good time. And that's the kind of community and space that we want to create, is where people can just feel free to have fun and lighten up. Like, life is supposed to be fun. Like, we are just sitting here on a rock flying through the middle of nowhere. What is there? Why shouldn't we be enjoying this and having fun and being
poke
silly?
some fun at it? Yeah.
But in the matching outfits, it really goes over well, and it like it's kind of like our uniform. Our thing is to like match and be silly and be lighthearted and enjoy.
No, it's great. Weren't you guys dressed like rainbows at the sacred sessions?
Yes, that was our Halloween outfit. We got engaged in those outfits.
Yeah. Well, tell me about being a couple, as in a romantic relationship performance band. And this always comes with a bunch of string questions to kind of like give you a ton of topics to go. But like, is it like make your music even better because you're so fused energetically that the alchemy and medicine that you bring is like double empowered by the support you give each other? Or maybe some days you guys are together too much and it's like, how do I find my unique voice and personality through this band? Is there like songs that are just Emily? Are there songs that are just Zach? Or is it always fused? And tell me a little bit about getting engaged on the road and stuff.
Well, I think I think what you said definitely does make the music better, at least to us, because we're best friends, we're lovers, we're business partners, we do everything together, and we really feed off of that love and that fun. And I think that shows through the music. I think that's another thing people will say live, is that I can really feel the love and I can tell how much y'all love each other. There are some songs that I've written by myself on piano, but and there's some songs that he's written on sax, or he has the idea for it, he'll create the beat first, but it always becomes a collaboration together. But I think that some people ask us, how can you do that many things together? I can imagine like doing work.
Yeah, like working with my partner, and I'm like, I can't imagine not. Like, I mean, especially with getting on the road, we couldn't have done what we did if we weren't a couple. Like, there aren't bands that are just like, okay, we're going to quit our jobs and move into an RV and we're all just going to move and hit the road for a few years. Is that cool with you guys? Right. And it's just like, because we were together, it's like, well, yeah, we share a bed. So it wasn't, I mean, there were times when this wasn't enough space, but we made it work. And that was like, that allowed us to do all these things.
Or you're the one who's or one of you guys would be the rock star superstar, and the other one stays at home, just waiting for the other one to come back, wondering if one's cheating on the other and such.
And we have friends that are in those kinds of situations, and it sounds like it has its troubles. But it also, everything works differently for different people. So this is what works for us.
Right.
Gus is everywhere today. Gus.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely no jealousy questions, because it's like, we're just in it together. It's not like, oh, they're on tour, I wonder what's happening.
It's not like he's getting mad numbers after the show. I think people can
they can kind of tell. And it's funny, actually, when sometimes people come up and they're like, so like, are you guys together? I'm like, it seems very obvious to me, but it's not like we're making out on stage. So I guess there is still kind of a mystique about it. But
I guess people don't want to make assumptions, but
Yeah.
it's possible it would, unless you don't, you say it like there's a mystique. But I guess the mystique is also interesting.
yeah,
Like
it's like, wow, they're just dancing in sync. They must be
have a lot
really,
of
they're really
chemistry.
close. Yeah.
It's kind of like Fleetwood Mac. It's like, who's dating who now?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. And I used to play in a band in Denver, and I would get questions all the time. Are you with the singer? It's like, no, we just dance in sync. It's like, we're just really good friends. I think of her as a sister, so I guess I can see that. But
as far as logistics go, it's very convenient to be a couple. Also, it's as a duo, you make way more money. You don't have to split it with a band of 7 people. Where we're getting that rate.
Yeah.
We don't have to get different separate hotel rooms.
Yeah.
We can all travel. We just travel in one car, one vehicle. It just like logistically, it works really well for what we're doing. Also.
Yeah, I mean, and we've even done, like, we did a tour where we brought a tour manager, and this converts into a bed, so he could sleep out here, and then our bed's in there. And so, like, it really, we're not necessarily at the point where we have the funds to be bringing a tour manager, but if we were getting them a hotel room, definitely would not be able to.
Yeah.
But we have a bed to provide, and then we have our own bed, and we can go play shows anywhere.
Really well.
Yeah.
Would a tour manager make things better? Like, are tour managers supposed to go out there and get you big events and more money and all that
They're
stuff?
more like they're
Tour
more on
manager.
the logistics side of like helping us at the venue, be our liaison between us and the venue and the manager, the stage manager.
So you don't have to chase people for money.
Right.
That and just like if we're on stage, I need this, something went wrong with my ears or something's feeling weird.
Yeah, a bottle of kombucha.
Yeah, or as simple as like I'm dripping sweat, man. Can you find me a towel? And he ran off and grabbed a towel, and came back with a fan too. And
So
it was
it's like a personal assistant.
yeah,
Totally.
and he helped with load in, and then he also was a rapper, so he would come out and feature on a couple songs.
What's his name?
Shout out Noah from the
Noah.
ARC Project.
Okay,
They're
cool.
a really amazing band. We just spent Loveburn with them. They're
Okay,
the
nice.
ones that created the camp that we were at.
Aw.
They just released an album too. Check
cool.
it out.
What was the name of the camp in Loveburn? I forgot.
Portal Potty.
Okay.
Which is actually a party through a portal
Okay.
through a porta potty. You open the porta potty and there's no toilet. It's just a portal, and you go spin in this like giant neon painted turny thingy, and on the edge there's a portal you have to walk through about 100 yards, and then you end up at the party, which is in this big old tent.
Sounds like a Meow Wolf kind of situation.
Yeah,
It was kinda, yeah.
Both exciting
very
and stinky
trippy.
at the same time.
Yeah. We
That's
would
great.
joke with the audience that you guys are really weird for coming to a party in a bathroom, but it was good. It was fun.
And what about, so that's a tour manager. What about a general manager? Like
So we don't have a general manager for the business. Like we kind of manage ourselves in that sense. But our booking agent, who recently, Adam from the Eclectic Roster, has started helping us do some bookings. He came on and helped us book a December tour, and has since been getting us some festivals and some shows. And he kind of takes a little bit of a managerial role. Like yesterday we were on the phone, he had just put up his website, and he was kind of like, your website's all right, but I think you could step it up. And so I sat down and updated our website, and it was kind of just a landing page, and then we turned it into like a nice, well-designed thing that
Also, to be like
presentation.
a middleman. So as an artist, you want to say yes to everyone, and you want to be nice, and you don't want to have to like lay the hammer down. So if there's something that we kind of need help with, and he can act as that middleman person, but also dealing with venues and festivals, he can get us more money. He can negotiate us a better pay, a better slot at the festival, a hotel buyout, meal buyout, things that we weren't necessarily doing on our own. So
things that we didn't know to ask for, or that we just didn't feel comfortable. It's like they offer us this much money, we're like, we can't ask for twice that, but he can.
So that's a booking agent.
Yeah, the booking agent.
That's
And
almost like a general manager for a music performer.
he kind of, he is just our booking agent, but he is playing a managerial
he goes
role.
above and beyond.
Yeah,
Shout
and-
out
Well,
Adam.
It's,
Love you.
it's in their interest for you to kill in every way. So when he books you, it's like, wow, they're this, or
If-
they're webpage.
If our rate keeps doubling, then it does as well.
Right,
He
this-
makes a percentage. So
Which
it's in
our
his
rate has
benefit.
doubled every year since 2020. So if we keep going at this exponential rate, we'll be sitting real good in a couple of years.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Hey.
Yeah, I wish there was such a thing for artists. I know they exist, but like it's less normal for artists to have somebody that goes out there and speaks for them. Many times it's like the girlfriend or the wife that has to be like, quote unquote, the jerk that talks with the event or the client, be like, yo, don't take advantage of my nice partner that will say yes to everything and will give you a deal because you become friends in the last hour. And, and now, you know, we're suffering because of it, not paying our bills.
Do you guys do that for each other?
Paulina, because we're both artists.
You're both artists.
Yeah.
So.
I've kind of had, I've not had a manager. I guess like I had a manager for my clothing brand, but that was different from like, I book my own stuff. I get all my opportunities. And I try my best not to be too nice, but I'm too nice at every turn. I got this thing where I want people to like me. So like sometimes I gotta sacrifice people not liking me and me taking care of myself and be like, hey, no, like I charge this much and I know that's more than you want me to charge, but this is where I'm at. And I guess if we don't book, we don't book, and not the end of the world. Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, as you can understand, because you yourself
the business side. I just want to be an artist.
Yeah, I just want to show up and be me and paint and teach. And
Zach will be your manager.
Yeah, it's like send him to the door and be like, hey, dude, you haven't paid me. Do you ever, let me ask you this, do you always get paid?
Or we have not gotten paid, I think, on one show.
Okay.
And we did get the deposit.
And we got a deposit. The festival just flopped.
It was a festival that flopped.
So, and it was like we weren't getting paid that well anyway, so it was kind of like, you know.
And we made some really good connections.
Made some good friends, made some connections. Like we just chalk it up to the game, you know. But I don't think. Yeah, I mean, like we've never really had to like draw the hard line on people. It was nice on the tour where having the tour manager where there's just little things that it's easier having someone else say it than me, but if at the end of the day I'll take that role if I have to, you know, and just hey, we need this to happen, and you know, it's like we've got to go on stage when we're supposed to go on stage, you know, so whatever, we're sticking to the schedule, you know, or whatever it is. But
yeah, well, that's good. One client is nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I should always ask at least my half deposit in, but many times I'm just traveling and I'm just me, and they tell me like, hey, come here to Austin and paint me a huge mural at a skate shop / toy store. There's like 0% I'm not going to show up to that skate shop toy store and paint a big mural. But then I'm waiting for years now and I'm not getting paid. And I'm like, come on, Joe.
Wow.
Like, you know, we became friends. It's like, oh yeah, I love you. I'm going to pay you. But he never pays. And I'd say like 10% of my clients do that. And it's kind of unfortunate.
That's a shame.
And sometimes it's a festival that flops. And it sucks to like fly across the country and paint a big mural
and
that
spend
they
your own money.
keep. And then they're like, oh yeah, the festival flopped. It's like, dude, like I
didn't
like
flop.
flew,
Yeah.
like I still flew around the country, painted you the big mural that you keeped, and you know, like sell it, hustle it,
and then pay me my money. Yeah.
Like I don't know, figure it out. Like why do I have to suffer because of this?
No, and that's
I feel like visual artists sometimes get the worst end of the stick on that. It's like not that it's easier for musicians, but I feel like you guys get shafted sometimes, and like it's almost seen as like an after effect, or we don't need to pay the artist. They could sell prints there, or
artists are less valued in festivals and events
shouldn't be
than
the case.
Musicians.
Yeah,
it's too bad because there's this illusion, and perhaps it's true that it's the musicians that bring the people to a festival,
right?
And I would say like maybe like the upper third of a flyer brings the people, and the lower 2/3 you're just trusting that the festival has good taste and everybody else is good, because you don't know all the music. Like same with the artists, you might know Andre Jones and Alex Gray and Chris Dyer, but you don't know the other ones, but you're like, but I like visionary art in general, so let's support it. But yeah, there's a lot less support for the arts and artists, once again, sensitive, visionary, spiritual, fairy dudes, gotta be all like, I charge this much and pay me half before I go. Like, I know that the Grays won't even show up if they don't get like paid before they get there. Or, you know, uh, many musical performers won't get on stage. They will be right behind stages, like, till you pay me my whole money.
Yeah.
I'm not going out there.
That's very James Brown.
Yeah, James Brown, Woodstock 99, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and that's kind of something that, you know, more recently we've been like, yeah, when we were just first hitting the road, we were like playing gigs for
We
free.
said yes to everything.
And we just were like, any opportunity, well, we can put out a tip jar and sell merch. Like, sure, you're giving us the chance to play. And just as time progressed, we got more confident in what we had to offer.
And
it's
our
like
product got better.
Yeah, and we're just like, we can't go drive across the country if we don't have a deposit, you know. And that was it just became more of like
too risky.
We're calling, we're drawing the line of like, do we want this gig that much, or do we, you know, want to live? So
and it almost like demeans, not that people who go to the performance know what you got or if you got something or not, but, you know, in general, if you're just going out there and acting as if like you're like a starving artist, like, oh, I'll do anything because I'm not worthy, and oh, I'm just lucky to be out here.
I just want people to like me.
Yeah, like then that energy carries on like, well, they'll do anything for free and people will take what they can.
Totally.
Yeah, well, I'm happy you guys are standing your ground and growing and expanding your project. What's the goal with future joy as a
World
project?
domination. Just kidding.
Do you hope? Obviously, we all want more money, and not because we're money greedy, but like, hey, being abundant and comfortable and not worried about bills. Like, you know, why not? You know, we can do more art.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're very close to where we wouldn't have to worry about money, and I've never been like, I need all this money. I think for me, it's been, there are certain stages I want to play, you know, being from Denver, like playing Red Rocks is obviously like high on the list. International performance is very exciting. Like I'd love to play Israel, and it's just, there's certain things that I want to do. But
I never thought we would play somewhere like Janice when we first started doing this. This was just something we started doing for fun, and we talk
used
about
to play
it.
on this.
We
You know?
talk about it all the time. Like, did you think we would be here when we met at that karaoke gig 5 years ago? And this is already beyond my wildest dreams. So, and we're just getting started. So if we keep up at this pace and keep getting better and keep growing and evolving and transcending, it's just like there's no limits, no cap.
Nice.
Yeah, and there's like collaborations, like there are just certain like dream artists, and I'm like, well, that would be so cool if we got to make a song with Bonobo or Troy Boy or, you know, Sophie Tucker, just like artists that we look up to, or doing tours with certain artists. And I think that we're just like, it's almost like we need to set more goals, because the few goals we set, we're like, well, we accomplished that. But it's kind of like we're just on it for the ride, and it's like everything is just working and being great. So it's just, we keep
going,
keep showing up, and beautiful things keep happening.
Yeah, enjoying the ride, you know? I think I used to struggle a little bit with anxiety and about where we're at and where we're going, instead of just like being here now. And I think substance had a lot to do with that. And so getting sober for both of us was something that, for me at least, has made it like tenfold difference. Did a 180 from where I was at to where I am now. Yeah. I don't really know where I was going with that.
No, like the direction of your project, you know, like world domination. Is it all about the money? Is it about accomplishing certain goals, like
world collaboration, let's say, rather than domination,
or healing the world where you're menacing?
I think that is a huge thing.
Spreading joy.
When people come up after a show and talk about just like how much we lifted their spirits, you know, and like whether they had a bad day and it made it better, or just this was a life-changing experience, you know, it's just, I just want to keep doing that. And for us, like the just the bigger stages, I think the sound is getting better. So it's like, I'm like, yeah, I want to play big stages for big crowds, but like from our end, it gets easier too. Like the Janus stage was just very easy to perform on.
They were so
the
professional.
crew was very professional. So like, I'm excited for just like that. Those are all the stages we're stepping on, are these like 1,000 to 2,000 person venues where the crew just has this level of like professionalism that we know exactly what we want to come across is going to, because the crew is there to show up as well. And you know, sometimes we're playing just little bars and it's like, oh, like I guess we're just kind of working this event, you know, where's the staff or whatever. Like, you know, and that happens. But
and I think the goal is to just keep spreading joy. I mean, it's in our name. It's like what we live for, and meeting this, like creating this community. I have met some of the most incredible, inspiring, creative, positive people in the past 4 years of this project that we've been doing together. And it just is building. And it's just like kind of planting our little seeds of joy everywhere and seeing like what is attracted and what we can put out is just like infinite.
That's beautiful. Yeah, like sometimes I wonder if, you know, sometimes I say like, oh, good people will never conquer, because the people who conquer are those like not necessarily creepy, but those who are like so focused on the money and success and climbing the ladder, and they crush the good people who are like too kind to really like push people to the side and be like, hey everybody, I've arrived because my ego is this big and now you should, and that actually works out. You know, those people who have that giant ego and belief that they deserve to be the kings of whatever world, they actually like manifested. But then like nice, kind, humble people like you guys, I'm like, oh, I wonder if they will make it into like, you know, a super huge position with that attitude. Like from my perspective, I want people like you who I resonate, who are truly kind and sharing the love and the joy, because that's the world I want in the future. The future joy world where humanity wakes up and we're all spirit and we're all like, whoa, your love, I can see it. Oh, that's bullshit. Okay, let's get away from that. And but we're not there yet. We're still in the world of bullshit. We're still in the world of masks where people are tricking you. Oh, I'm this, I'm that, and yeah. Anyways, I just threw you a bunch of like reflections. I don't even have a question for it, but like, do you think good people who are just out there to spread good vibrations can actually also become super successful and abundant?
I think so, and I think we're seeing it. I think that we're moving past this, especially in the music industry. It used to be, you know, like you had to get signed to a record label and you had to have all of these like boxes to check to make it super, super successful. But now people like Billie Eilish made an album in their bedroom and now is world famous. And I think especially in this like little niche festival world that we all live in, there's so much opportunity to do the right thing. The music is high vibrational. The people are high vibrational. There is like community and love. And something interesting I heard Shaquille O'Neal say, because you know he's a big DJ now, DJ Diesel. Someone asked him like, why'd you become a DJ? He said he went to a music festival and saw 9,000 people loving each other, hugging each other, dancing with each other, and zero cops, and zero fights, and zero bad vibes. And he couldn't get Game 7 energy anywhere else that he can on a DJ stage out in front of thousands of people. And it is that. It's this special community that we've built, and kind of the underground that is becoming a bit more mainstream now, that festivals are everywhere and super popular, making the news and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just think that there's such an opportunity for good to prevail and for positive people to find each other and not necessarily take over or dominate, but like collaborate and cooperate and do it all together with love and light and shining all over, shining that light.
Beautiful. I love it. I'm stoked for you guys, and I hope you keep on growing. What's some of your biggest influences musically?
I think you just named 3 of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, Bonobo is a big one for me. Our music doesn't necessarily line up. He's somewhat more chill. Sophie Tucker.
Sophie Tucker's a big one. I love Flight Facilities, Jungle.
Jungle music in general.
Oh, the band Jungle.
Okay.
They're
Not
from
like
the genre, yeah.
but
And
that too, I
yeah.
do like jungle music. But the band Jungle does
Uh-huh.
something so special.
Put my nick on that move.
On the sax, for me, it's like Sonny Rollins is a big, jazz influence, and then Skerrick is like a contemporary sax player who I love, who like plays with Primus and also plays with Stanton Moore and does kind of rockin' and funky and jazzy and everything in between.
Nice.
Moon Hooch and Too Many Zoos are both kind of like sax bands that we get compared to often.
Okay.
Another like goofy duo, the Floozies. They're super goofy and fun, and then not necessarily joke on stage, but they do funny stuff.
It's very lighthearted. Yeah.
Nice. The saxophone, as I like electronic music, but like it's such a wide range, so I don't know everything about it. But if I think of the saxophone, I think of jazz. I'm a jazz lover. Can you please break the stereotype that saxophone belongs to one genre of music, and now is saxophone part of the electronic genres or all genres? Teach me a little about this. And
I personally have played saxophone in all genres, and really jazz is probably what I've played the least. I mean, I did it in middle school and high school, but I played in a metal band. Did my first tour was with a metal band playing sax. I've played in like bluegrass, jam, funk, and then kind of when I started getting into electronic music, I always played sax with it. I feel like the sax fits in everything, or can, and if done tastefully.
Yeah. It's like very bassy.
Yeah.
Like it's like a bass line kind of vibe that could be a solo instrument, but it can also like hold the general
groove.
tone, depending, I guess, like how big the fucking thing is, right?
Well, I also have a bass saxophone, a baritone, a tenor, and a soprano. So it's kind of the full range of the sonic frequencies, and I'll sometimes in recording play all four of them and make like a saxophone section of myself. But yeah, I mean, I think for the most part it can fit in anything.
Nice.
Yeah.
When I think of saxophone and electronic music, I think of Grizz. Maybe because Grizz is so big and he jumps on stage with his saxophone and stuff. Has Grizz, and I might be totally like ignorant of the subject matter, but is he like the pioneer of that thing, and he opened up the path for other electronic people to like all of a sudden bust out the saxophone, or is that something that was already happening and he's just one of them?
I mean, I don't know where it started, but I know that I was playing sax along with myself DJing back in 2008 before I had heard anyone else do it necessarily, and then I think Big Gigantic came along, and Dominic Lally was one of the first ones that I saw doing it.
But yeah, Grizz.
But
and
Grizz
Big
is a
G.
big part of it. Yeah, I mean, Grizz and Big Gigantic are probably some of the bigger names doing it.
They're probably just like the bigger names that actually have that incorporated, but
but
they're not
also,
the root of the situation.
Yeah, where it came from, I mean, it's hard to say. I feel like in Europe, it was kind of always a thing, like DJs had sax players sitting in with them for a long time.
Yeah,
like,
I could see that being a 90s thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say like who started it necessarily.
That was another reason why it was convenient for us to move out of Denver. All of these sax, Sodown is also someone who does this. Big G and Grizz all live in Denver, and so they see us doing this
like,
sax
you're
DJ project,
one.
and it's just like, oh, I've seen that, been there, done that.
Do you think that having a sax, like puts you in a little box of like, oh, it's a sax thing now? Or is it just like an instrument like in a band? I would never see a rock band be like, oh, you're a guitar rock band.
Oh, you play guitar? Yeah. I mean, we've had one comment from someone that was like, oh, I would come see you, but I actually physically cannot listen to the saxophone.
Oh.
And she was like, I really respect what you're doing, and like I wish you the best, and I enjoy the music, but something about the saxophone like makes my skin crawl.
She's like allergic to it.
Yeah, but she was really sweet about it. So basically, people who don't like sax aren't gonna going to like us.
But other than that, I don't think I've met many people that don't like sax. You know, most people are like, that's my favorite instrument. It's like most people's favorite instrument is like guitar or saxophone. Like, I mean, it's just, it's melodic, it's smooth. You know, that's like, it works for most things. Like, but yeah, I mean, do we get pigeonholed? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess if you don't like sax, it's not going to be for you.
Do you like Grizz? Like, is that your style of music?
Yeah, I think he's like a little kind of on the heavier side. Like, you know, kind of we were saying that like
his
maybe
first
that
couple
Denver...
albums I really resonate with. He kind of evolved into something a little bit like harder rhythm, dubstep style. Where it's funny, that's kind of where you started, and we kind of evolved into like funky house. But we like it. I like it all. I love Grizz. I love Big G. We got to see both of them last year, and it's just inspiring to see someone doing what we're doing on a much larger scale. It's like
you saw him at where?
Grizz played Secret Dreams that we were at together.
Okay, nice.
And then Big Gigantic was at Red Rocks, and our buddy Jason Leach was opening.
Okay, nice.
So that was a great show to see.
I saw him in Electric Forest the year before.
Jason?
Or Grizz? Both Grizz and Big Gigantic. I like Electric Forest now better than its ending with Closey and Grizz than when it was a Bass Nectar situation.
Totally.
A different vibe.
Yeah? Different crowd.
Yeah, no bad vibes to anybody or their stories or their crowds, but one brought like a darker, like, robot apocalypse vibe, and the other one brings more like a, hey, we're just a bunch of, you know, happy, shiny, happy people kind of vibes, and I'm like, I can align more with that.
Yeah?
Yeah. So that can change a whole festival.
It really
it's crazy.
Can.
Like a huge festival like Electric Forest, you know, like a final headliner. So that's very interesting. Do you believe in the spiritual power of music on a more frequential sound healing level?
Absolutely. I mean, sound is waves and vibration, and they're physical and they penetrate. And so I think that what you just said about the crowd is a reflection of the music. And so to put out what we feel is our truth and our love and our spirit putting out is going to attract more of that. And if we put out high vibe, and receive high vibe, it raises the vibe of everything around us, right?
Well, you guys have a particular prayer, let's say, if we want to call it. Prayer maybe sounds too religious, but you have a certain intention and lyrics and upbeat thing. But what about frequency and hertz? Like, isn't there like a certain hertz that affects your molecules or some kind of scientific influence?
Yeah, they say that like popular music is tuned to 440, and that's actually like not in harmony with nature and what it's supposed to be, and that like 432 hertz is more what it's supposed to be.
So our singing bowls are at 432.
So the Fluture Joy sound healing set that we did at Loveburn, we tuned everything to 432. So cool. we were able to change the synths into 432, and with the bowls and the flute, it's supposed to be more aligned with that healing frequency. And we're planning to put that set out, so it'll be cool to see if people are feeling that and hearing that.
I would love to convert everything to 432 eventually.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how they
topple the system.
How do you do that?
It's the note, like the note A is at 440 hertz, and so it's just the tuning. If you play 432 and 440 right by each other, the waves just, it sounds like it's out of tune. So if you were to, you'd have to just, in your music production software and all your synthesizers and whatever, change it over. For saxophone and voice, it's much easier in that you just tune to that note.
Does it change the song?
It changes. I mean,
the notes are a little bit flatter. So 440's here, 432's right here. So they sound different. I think to an untrained ear, it would would
be hard to tell. And even like the same song, if it was 440 and then tuned to 432, like if you heard them side by side, you might not even be able to tell. But I think it's more what the feeling is.
Vibration. Cool. It's kind of like when a painter uses particular rulers to bring the Fibonacci sequence or sacred geometry under the painting, and at the end you don't even see the sacred geometry, but it's all embedded in the structure of the painting.
Subliminal messaging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So tell me, we didn't like when I was talking about your relationship. We didn't get to the part where you, asked Emily to marry you on stage. How did that happen?
That was at Halloween 2022. We were playing on the campground stage. We had talked before, and I said, kind of before the festival, I was like, well, how would you feel if I proposed at a festival, something like that? And Emily was actually like, well, if you did it on stage, that would probably be a pretty good marketing ploy.
Oh, God. This is not very romantic.
The romance is like, we already feel like we're married, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, moving into this, when we were on the road full time, like living together, working together, it's like we felt married, so it's like just to make it official and throw an actual party to do that.
Which we are throwing a festival for our wedding. Yes. I know you guys know about it, but it's in the works. It'll be in St. Pete in February 2025. It's going to be open to the public. We want the whole community involved.
You're probably going to be there painting. We'll talk.
Yeah. What, you're opening it to strangers?
Well,
so there'll be invited guests, but then it will be open to the public as well.
We had a lot of fans tell us that they want to be there. And
do they have to pay to go in?
Probably have to buy a ticket. Okay. It'll be our wedding gift, and it'll pay for the event to happen.
Nice.
They're like, I want to come to your wedding. Okay, buy a ticket.
Well, aren't weddings like an event that you pay? They're expensive too, weddings.
Exactly.
I always hate it when I get invited to a wedding.
No, we will.
So that's why we want ours to be very fun. It's going to be a festival.
Our family and like close friends will not have to buy a ticket, but fans that have expressed interest in wanting to be there, they can buy a ticket.
And it'll be very modestly priced. It's not going to be. It's not going to be very expensive.
I didn't mean to make it sound like your wedding would be like a normal wedding that I'm all like cringing, like, oh.
Like this is gonna suck. Yeah. We're doing, instead of first dances, we're gonna do first jams. So we'll get married. It's gonna be a very short service.
What's gonna be the spiritual, cultural lineage to unite you two spiritually?
I mean, I will stomp on a glass.
He's
but
Jewish.
I don't think that we're like it's gonna be very Jewish.
But we're gonna do Hava Nagila.
Yeah,
you're gonna drink some tequila?
No. Hava Nagila is the song, when they raise you in a chair and it's like da na 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 na. So yeah, I mean, I was raised Jewish, and I think that we'll stomp the glass and do that, but it's kind of like more culturally than like I don't really practice Judaism. We're not very religious, but more so spiritual. I think that just our union of love will be how we're coming together. Yeah, love and joy.
But will you have like a rabbi or a priest?
I think we're gonna have a friend. I think we'll have a friend that's gonna officiate.
He's been like a spiritual teacher.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a guru.
Nice.
And yeah, so to end the story of the engagement, so we had talked about it, and it wasn't like she was completely blindsided. Like I brought up the idea, and then she kind of accepted it.
Imagine you ask,
and she's like
super on the spot,
and she's like, great. Like I didn't want to ask on stage if she didn't know it was gonna happen.
We also talked about getting married. It was like a mutual decision.
We had decided we're gonna get married. It's just when do we want to do that? And so then during the set, I'm jumping around, like having a good time. The ring and everything in my pockets fell out.
Oh no.
So I'm like scrambling to grab all these things off the ground and like put it back in my pockets. She did not see that. Some people in the crowd saw me and they're like, what's going on? Like they didn't know. They're like, is he about to do it right now? Because they saw me like going in my pockets.
Yeah.
So I had told some people, but then, so we finished the set. And we always try and get like a family photo at the end where we go in front of the crowd.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, let's get a family photo. And Em was like, oh my God, we always forget to do that. Great job. Yeah. And so we went in the front and she comes up and I'm on a knee. And so she was surprised because we had rehearsed so much. She had forgotten the conversation, so it was still a surprise. It wasn't like she was like, oh, I wonder when he's going to do it. It was still pretty fresh. And
her parents were there.
Yeah, her parents were in the crowd. Like 1,000 people were at the set.
Yeah.
We had photo and video, so it was all captured, and it was a beautiful moment. But when
people ask us, why do you want to get married on stage at a festival in front of people that you might not know? It's like, well, that's how we got engaged. Like, our love is public, and it's part of Future Joy. So it seems that Future Joy should be a part of our wedding, and then this will be a yearly gathering that we can celebrate every year is our anniversary, but also I want to turn it into something bigger. Like eventually I'd love to have it at Swanee to be a camping festival that lasts for a couple days, but we don't want to do that the first year for all the family and logistics.
Bite off too much.
Also, I just think that I'd rather have our family be in hotels than camping, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's so cool that your project's so tied in to love and your relationship and even a community thing to bring in the vibes. I find, as somebody who's been married, that bringing in your community, maybe your close friends, and many times those close friends are not so close, but they're just around in your life, you know. Everybody injects their vibration by their presence and their consciousness and their prayers and their intentions and their hopes and wishes for you, and to have even more people around is like a super prayer in a way, making it even more potent,
more joyful.
Yeah. I would imagine like 0 people there are like, oh, I hope this marriage fails. But I'm telling you, sometimes that happens too.
I really hope you don't attend if that's the case.
Right.
But yeah,
don't buy a ticket.
Sometimes there'll be like family members that's just like, you should have chosen that person, and you know, like how long is this gonna last? And you know, but I don't think it would happen when it's all your fans that love you and your music. So yeah, I look forward to that. I'll put it on my
put
agenda.
in your calendar.
Yeah, totally. Do you have any opinions about AI art? Like, is that feels like something like it's a competition? Like, and someone just, you know, in maybe like 2 years just be
honestly,
like, oh, like I want make me 3 new Future Joy albums, please. I don't even want to wait for them to finish that album that's taken them 2 years. Jesus, like, hey, Chat GPT, can you please make me a couple of Future Joy albums and make it about the topics that resonate with me? Like, I really am into Siamese cats. I want every single song to be about Siamese cats. And you're like, hey, what's going on here? That's my intellectual property, and why are you overstepping? Or you're like, no, that's never gonna happen. Like, that couldn't happen.
Well, I mean, AI is definitely like progressing very quickly, and it's like, I mean, kind of how we've used it is like in a very basic form. Like, if we have a song, like sometimes we'll take a song that we want to cover or remix, so we'll use AI to like take the vocals out of a song, and then Emily can sing some other lyrics over it. And
wow, AI can do that?
Yeah.
So you can do like, I want like Take On Me from Aha and take out the lyrics?
Take out the vocals.
What?
Yeah. So I mean, so I don't understand how it's doing it necessarily, but like that's kind of probably the biggest use that is like for us has been awesome. And like, it's not that we're having it just create something from scratch. Like, it's like we have this idea, like we heard a song, like an LS Dream song, and as soon as it started, I was just hearing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And I was like, I don't know, something about this chord progression is making me think of this. So we took out the lyrics and she sings the Beatles lyrics over it, and it's a cool flip that is like kind of made
and people who are LS Dream fans.
Perfect situation for a mashup.
Yeah, exactly. It's how we make our own mashups, and we did it with another song where she sings Redbone over it. Kind of that's kind of how we've been mashing stuff up, is we just take out the lyrics and put our own.
Or if we want to sing along to a popular song like Fisher's Take It Off, I took her vocals out and we sing it instead. So it's not that we're like singing over someone else. It's still us singing. But I've even used AI to help me with lyrics before. I think that we're society with evolving technology. It's like, why not use it to your advantage? Like, I don't want to compete with it. I want to work with it, you know?
But you would never be like, yo, ChatGPT or Google AI, can you write me a song? I'm kind of feeling lazy and uncreative today.
Yeah.
Well, I think their songs still are not, like, I've done that. And their songs still are like, a little amateur, but maybe something in their song inspired me to write my own version of lyrics, or there was a topic that got brought up, but I think that as advanced as it could be, it is not human. It will never have the human soul behind the music. And I think that's something that's big about our music, is that we put our heart and soul literally into it. And I don't know, maybe AI in 20 years will be able to get something close to it, but I think that I don't think it
let's
could
say it will
ever.
never have a body, or it could have a robot body in the future, but it's not like it's gonna get up on stage and be a human.
It can't
do this
feel.
thing.
You know?
Well, I mean, have you ever heard like a synthesized saxophone? Like it never sounds right. You know, it never because there's no breath. Like it's like there are synthesizers where you can play like a saxophone sound, but it just doesn't sound right.
But
So
what if a vacuum robot comes for it?
yeah, like I just don't think the AI would ever be able to create something like that. Like because she said it doesn't have a body. Like there's never actual breath in it.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean maybe they can take your voice and manipulate
Replicate
and
it.
replicate, but like yeah, there will always be something. Kind of how we were saying about 432 to 440. It's like it will have something intangible that's like, oh, it's just slightly off. You know,
Yeah.
even if you're like, wow, that does sound like us,
Yeah.
but it's just something is not quite there.
Right.
You know, and maybe it will progress to that point, and I'll eat my words and I'll be like, yeah,
Just
we just
show
had
us
it
this
write
interview.
4 albums. Like, why are we writing albums when they could do it for us?
Right.
But I mean, at the end of the day, we enjoy it. You know,
Yeah.
if we're not inspired to write a song, we don't write a song that day. You
I
know,
would think like an AI song at best will be like an artist having a limited edition print. Oh, here's a print of an original painting, but the original painting could only be you and Emily
Yeah.
playing on stage.
Well, and like we met a friend, Balkan Bump, was talking about like he used AI and was like, hey, listen to all these songs of mine and create a chord progression that I would use, and it spat out something. He was like, oh, it's actually a pretty good chord progression, and he used it.
Huh?
Chord progressions at the
But
end
it's
of the
not
day,
playing it for
yeah,
you.
it's like you chord progressions or like things like that. It's just like
Like a sketch.
it's just a tool in using to make the song. Like to use AI to completely make a song, I think that's kind of weird and cheap, you know. But if it's just a tool to an end that we're still creating, I think is like use whatever tools you want to use. You know, people used dictionaries and encyclopedias or whatever as lyrical help, and it's like so if she just is like, I need a synonym for this word or this line, can you help me out? And it spits out 3 ideas. It's like, yeah, use it. You know?
Nice. How do you see the world in general these days? You know, we live in a ever evolving, futuristic world. 2024, so many issues, but also hope. How do you observe planet Earth and its current state right now?
You looking at me?
Doesn't even have to be about politics.
I mean,
or
I
anything, you know?
only look at the bright side. So like I don't even really follow politics and don't know too much of what's going on, which
Because what is politics anyways? Who's controlling
Someone's
which country?
opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
so
know?
I mean, for me, like
What's the vibe? then?
I'm very much in the now and, you know, kind of where I'm at. So it's like, you know, like we said, it's like St. Pete is like Florida is pretty like laid back, positive, and like, what did we do today? We're just like having a great conversation. The sun's out.
That's my world.
What are we gonna do tomorrow? We like hop on a plane and go play a show. And you know, it's like
Well,
I don't see the bad as
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
I know it's out there, but I don't see it so much. So
It's good to acknowledge it and like know that these things are happening. Like you could say that the world is on fire, but you could also say that it's beautiful and it's growing and evolving. And I think like a trend recently is a lot of people are looking to get like communal land with their friends and build a communal homestead and grow their own food and raise their own animals. And this is a big dream of ours. And we've been talking to friends about it. I mean, we're talking the next like 5 to 10 years, but still like I think that this is something that a lot of people are getting into is like going back to where we came from, like tribal communities and smaller things smaller societies that we can choose how we want to live instead of live the way that we're supposed to, you know? So it's exciting. There's like I said earlier, I didn't know we were gonna be here living in a beautiful house in Florida after we lived in this RV. Like our life story is just done things that I couldn't have dreamed of. So like let's have this convo in 10 years on a communal farm that we all share and travel to. Like the goal would be to have them kind of all over the place because I don't really want to spend summer in Florida, but I don't really want to spend winter in Colorado.
Yeah.
So I mean, animals migrate, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
do you miss Colorado? Like Colorado and Denver being like so like the cool scene, especially for like the hippie visionary art and the electronic festival scenes. It's almost like you guys got, as locals, got away from what's popping to go to a more calmer place. It
Yeah.
seems like a not very intuitive decision, but like, how do you see it?
Well, it was just too saturated in Colorado. It was like almost hard for us to get a show because there was so much going on.
So we would never get a call to be direct support for the Polish ambassador in Colorado. There's
Like,
too many people above us on the totem pole.
That same show in Colorado we attended, and Michael Menert was on it, the Marvel Years Trio was on it, Scott and Ice was on it. So it was just like a very deep bill that here we got that call to be directly supporting him. So it was almost like we had to get out there, and the whole thing of just the sax DJ thing, and people are like, oh yeah, so you're trying to be Grizz, oh, you're trying to be Big Gigantic, and we go other places where that hasn't been as much, and it's a fresher
It's a smaller
thing.
pond here. But also, like, we have the connections there. We've played the shows there. And so that community is still there. When we go out in Colorado, it's awesome to see all of our old friends. And we have a lot of producers that we collaborate with there. So this next 2 weeks that we're spending in Colorado, we're going to make a lot of music. But it just is expanding our community, expanding our reach, expanding where our music can fit in. So it feels kind of like two homes.
Yeah,
like, it's just going back home.
That will always be home.
This is home.
And now there's a new home, and I think that's kind of where she was saying, like, just keep putting plots out there, and it's like now we have all these homes and
nice. You have
bounce
family
between
there?
them. Yeah, that's where my family lives.
Nice. And you're going out to play some like dead person festival?
Frozen Dead Guy Days is the festival.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this hippie town in Denver or in Colorado, just north of Boulder, up the canyon, called Nederland, had this legendary grandfather whose family decided to cryogenically freeze him in a shed in a freezer in their backyard. Very mountain person type of thing to do.
Crazy.
They moved back to Europe, and they would send money so that he could continue
They
to
just
be.
abandoned him though?
Yeah,
Apparently.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
It's too hard to get a flight for a frozen guy.
And this
Oh
is a
my
story I've been
goodness.
told. I could not have the right story,
Uh-huh.
but this is famous Colorado folklore. So the money kept coming from Europe, so he would get his dry ice. The money stopped coming. They're like, well, how are we going to keep Grandpa frozen? So the town started this festival called Frozen Dead Guy Days to raise money to keep Grandpa frozen. So now the city of Nederland delivers twice a week frozen ice, or what is it called?
Dry ice?
Dry ice to Grandpa's freezer. And they do coffin races at the festival. They do frozen turkey bowling at the festival. And it's just like a very silly event that has since moved from Nederland to Estes Park. This will be the second year in Estes Park. And I think they're talking about moving Grandpa also. But they've created laws in Colorado that now you're not allowed to cryogenically freeze someone in your backyard in a shed. But grandfather got grandfathered in. So he's cool.
Is he alive? The festival is calling him dead.
He's a frozen dead guy.
Frozen dead guy. He can't be alive, right?
I mean, the techno, we don't know yet.
They're hoping in the future that they can reverse whatever aging has happened.
You know, with all this like jumping in the ice water
He might be in great shape.
Yeah, maybe he comes out and he's 20 years old.
He's Wim Hof's dad.
Yeah.
But then, so we're going out. So this weekend we're playing our nephew's bar mitzvah. So we will be DJing at that, and then we've got a few recording sessions, and the festival is March 16th.
Nice. It reminds me of an episode of I Am Dave. Have you guys seen I Am Dave?
Is that with
Lil Dicky?
Lil Dicky.
Yeah, I love that show.
Oh my God. Yes. Talking about comedy and talent in one. But you're like, oh, is this comedy going to fuck up his talent? Or is his talent so good that it overtakes even the most ridiculous proposal or self-shaming? Yeah, I'm new to it. So every episode I'm like, What's gonna happen?
It's
Like,
very good.
I'm so like nervous for them. Well, too bad you guys will be gone this weekend because it's my birthday and
Oh, happy
early
birthday!
birthday!
Thank
What are
you.
you doing?
I'm having a Galactic Gang brunch during the day, which is like my NFT community, and then at night I'm having a house party just for my friends, kind of like New Year's.
We'll be there in spirit.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. I'm sure you'll be back again eventually. And yeah, I forgot what else I was gonna ask you after that. Oh yeah. Before I end the conversation, I wanted to thank you for the brand new song you've made for this podcast.
Yay! Brr, 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 brr.
Yeah, which was a trade. I made you a new logo or graphic that you can use for T-shirts.
Yes,
or-
we've already got hats printed with it.
Oh yeah, we have to
and
show you.
We've
Okay,
got
nice.
it on. We put it on our contact page on our website.
And we've got
Nice.
new stickers coming.
Yeah,
We're gonna make T-shirts.
Make some
We're gonna
shirts.
make all sorts of merch.
Yay for trades.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
Yeah. So if you guys were wondering, what's that brand new, Chris Dyer's Creative Friends song? It was like after so many episodes, it's a brand new song. It's right here.
yeah.
Zach, Future Joy.
Yeah,
They
honored.
revamped it, and I hope that every batch of almost 100 episodes, I can refresh it and have new vibes, and it's nice to have your guys' version. Was it tricky grabbing somebody else's song and making your own version of it?
No.
He's
Yeah.
pretty good at that, at hearing the elements and recreating them, but making it ours.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we had a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
It's a fun, catchy tune.
Cool. Thank you so much once again. And shout out to Danny Rebel, who did the original song. He's my homie from Montreal. Episode 1
Episode 1.
of the podcast. I was like, well, I'm gonna start it with a song. Danny Rebel both paints and does music. He's a Filipino Rasta in Montreal. He's got the biggest dreadlocks that only come out from this. It's like a giant beaver tail situation. It's he's such a nice guy. I think he had a new kid. But anyways, thank you so much for having me over. You're awesome, RV. Would you have some final words of wisdom for the viewers of the show? Maybe people who are starting up their music career or in the scene or whoever.
Just keep doing it. And you might not be good at first. You have to be bad at something before you're good at it. And things, it's hard to be in the music business, but it's so rewarding. And it feeds our soul. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. But you're going to play for empty rooms. You're going to play for people that don't care. And it's just if you believe in it, eventually enough people will find you that it starts to become something more. But I think that we had each other to kind of bounce off of. And sometimes we'll see an artist that we really respect, that we've seen headline Red Rocks or something crazy, and see them at a show that just kind of flops. And it happens to everybody. And I think that that's not common knowledge. You see someone playing for these giant crowds, and you think that it was just always that way. But they had to play the bar mitzvahs. They had to play the backyard barbecues, or to the bar that
But those
nobody
are the
cares.
best sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all part
So-
of the journey.
And just keep going. Don't stop. If you don't stop, there's no limits.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you so much,
Thanks
guys.
for
I really
having us.
appreciate
Thanks for coming over. Thank you, Paulina.
Oh,
Thank you,
and
Paulina.
Oh,
check out our new song,
Oh, yeah.
Queen Bee.
Here, we should put them.
Nice.
We should all put them on.
All right.
Oh
The
yeah.
song comes with sunglasses. Cool, I like this.
You're a bee. I'm a bee. We're all bees.
We're all bees.
Maybe Stella should wear some.
Be here, future now, enjoy. Happy, yeah, you look hot, babe. And thank you guys and girls and bees for looking at our episode of Chris Dyer's Creative Friends. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, and spread the beautiful medicine of these beautiful people. And I'll see you next episode. Blessings! Woo!
Stella, shh. You're being so loud.
Next episode, Illuminated Rose.
People are very attached, and especially to their art. Like we had that fire in my garage. Now we lost stuff in the fire, and I was just so glad to be alive. I didn't really care about that stuff. But I taught a class where we did the art. It was the Thank You for the Moment one, and what we're attached to. And I said, okay, now we're gonna burn our mandalas. Everybody freaked out. They took out their cameras. They were taking pictures of the mandala because they had to burn it. They wanted to save it. And then I said, no, I'm not gonna make you burn it. But I just wanted to show you how attached you are. It's something you just did for an hour. You know, how attached we become.
So please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Big thanks, and see you next episode. Peace.